All right, cool. So we'll get started in a minute. I'm glad my audio is better now, which is nice, and we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll have to cut off the video on when I send it to people this time for that beginning bit, so they actually watch it. I don't know. So, all right, let me swap these a little bit. Video of me. There we go. That's better. All right, here we go. We've got someone joining us. Hello, we have Kez Tears joining us. Nice to see you. We've got Karis. We've got a few more minutes. I'm just going to keep playing until we're ready to go. And you guys can just keep playing too. Or doing whatever you're doing while you're watching me. If you're on Facebook, it's like, I don't know. I reckon the number one activity for people on Facebook is like they're actually on the toilet or something just on their phone. All right, cool. Hello. So we've got Karis. We've got someone called Kez Tears, which if that is your real name, that is bold and I like it. It's cool to see you. I'm sure we'll have some other people join us as we go through the session today. Now today, I don't have too much of an agenda, but I have a few things that we can cover and we're going to walk through that I didn't get to in the other sessions. But I would love to hear from you. So if you are there, Kestis, just drop me something in the chat and let me know that you're watching, or you can hear me at least, would be cool. And then I'd love to know where you're at with your guitar playing too. That would be very useful. In the meantime, I will introduce Karis a little bit too. So Karis is a guitar teacher at Guitar Tuition East London. Which is our little school. And we teach guitar in East London, of all places. It's pretty clever branding that we've done. And so one of the things that we've been doing the last few weeks has been teaching beginners. And a couple of weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, we had the first session and it was really good. And so anyone who's watching this who wants to see that stuff again, you can just email me, or direct message or whichever like social channel you're on, just message because we look at those. And we can send you the videos for all of those. And so you can catch up on everything we've been doing and what's happened in the session so far. No worries. See you guys. So anyone watch this, you can catch up on all the sessions or anything we're working on so far. That's absolutely fine. And I'm just going to let some other people in who are joining us. Here we go. It's Mr. Nick Brown and Liam McKay. How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Welcome to It's great weather. Like,
I know, it's wicked, isn't it?
3 degrees out there. So I appreciate you coming for a guitar lesson in the sweltering heat. Nick Brown, how you doing? Good. You're muted right now, but I can see it was a smile of positive affirmation. Yeah. Good. It's great to see you both. Liam, I'm interested from you, like how you got on from last week, because last week was your first session.
So I had some time. I got some plectrums.
Very good.
So I got the 0.7. So they came through on yesterday actually. So I had to go yesterday. I was just practicing like the E minor and the A chords, trying to change them without looking. And then just practicing my strumming because I did it with my hands last time, but then I was trying to do it with this. So I was just practicing that really, and just trying to get go between the different chords. So so I had a few goes at that, and yeah, so it was good.
Good. How do you feel about it so far?
Yeah, no, good. Yeah, I feel yeah. I still need to kind of do something, but yeah, no, I'm enjoying it, and yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, good. That's all. That's all. I mean, that's all that really matters. Is it's enjoy it. That's good. Mr. Nick Brown, how are you getting on? I'll unmute you. I can hear you. Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can.
You're there. Yeah, I've been practicing. I've been doing everything that you suggested. You probably can't see, can you?
No,
you can't.
I mean, I can see your face, but you look like you're playing a guitar. It should be a recording.
That's an idea.
Yeah.
Let me just see if I can.
I have met people who told me that they learned as a teenager and they just learned a song and played it once and recorded it on like a tape recorder. And then when their parents would tell them to go and practice, they'd go hit play on the tape recorder. When you're a teenager is like an awesome idea, but as an adult, you're like, oh, I wish.
Yeah.
I wish I'd actually done the work.
Yeah. No, it's good.
So how's it been going? Had you taken a little break in playing before you came back to these? How are you getting on?
Yeah. I sort of kept on picking it up, playing, putting it down again, and all the rest of it. And what I realized really is that I hadn't sort of got my head around the basics. So I hadn't got the foundations. So sometimes things would go quite well and sometimes they wouldn't go quite so well. And then I'd try some Travis picking or something and get lost in that for a bit, because that's the kind of thing I'd like to do. So this is really good because it's kind of like, yeah, you can, and I've been adding third fingers sometimes as well. But I'm just dreading bar chords.
Oh, well, it's okay. We can, your fingers will get stronger, and bar chords they just take time. So I think everyone dreads them though a little bit. And if you don't dread them, you hear enough conversations like this, like Liam's now hearing about them for the first time, and maybe you begin to dread them before you get to them. But eventually,
they're nothing to be worried about at all. Nothing at all. They're just like falling in a swimming pool. It's, you just got to do it.
All right, cool. So we're gonna work on some exercises today, and what I'm gonna try and do is, this was meant to be a 4-session course or like mini course, but I'm doing 5 now. So this is actually our second to last session. Why are we doing 5? Because 2 weeks ago, instead of me streaming it to our Facebook page, which is what I'm supposed to do, I streamed it to my personal Facebook account, and was not super happy with myself at the end of it. I was like, oh, so I'm supposed to stream to my Facebook. So we're doing another one next week. But I want to make them all kind of make sense, but also I want to have time for you guys to ask questions if you have anything. So we're going to do something from me first, of my little agenda of what I think I want to cover in it. And then in the second half, any questions you guys have. And if you don't have any questions, then we'll just continue practicing and we'll jam, basically, is the idea. I'll play chords and we'll shift between them. So first thing we do is we're going to do a little kind of strumming warm up. And we're going to take some rhythms and take them with our basic chords, okay? And the 2 chords we're going to look at to begin with are just the E minor and the A. And you could play A, or A sus2 would be fine, like we talked about before. So these 2. Except we want to get a rhythm with them today. And when I think about rhythm, there's a couple of ways we do it. So we did one way last week, which you might not have seen yet, Nick, but I can send you the video for last week.
I did watch it, actually. Yes.
Oh, you got that one?
Yeah, I did. Thanks.
I've done 3 so far. I don't know. I know you've seen at least 2.
I missed the first one.
Okay, then maybe.
But the second and third,
So last week we looked at some strumming, and I did it kind of in a grid format on the page, which is cool. But today I want to look at it in a different way, and this is actually a very complementary way, and you can do both, but this is the slightly more true way, I think, about strumming, which is with, it all comes from internal sounds. So we're going to do this strum. We're going to go da, da, da. And when I make those sounds with my voice, I'm doing that because that's actually what I want you to do, except you're muted, so no one will hear you, and you could just open your mouth and convince me. But I want you to get the rhythm da, da da in your head first. Da 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 da. That's the pulse. Da 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 da. And then what's going to happen? I don't care whether you're doing downstrokes or upstrokes with this. I just want that exact da 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 coming out on the guitar. 3, 4, ba ba ba. 3, 4, da da da. 3, 4, da da da. 3, 4, 3, 4. Okay, so that's it over in E minor. So we're going to go a little bit slower than that. That's the rhythm. And every time, if you drop out, your only responsibility, or you get lost or anything, is to try and sing it first. And this is like if I was doing some hardcore online marketing, this would be the one hack that helps with strumming, right? But it really is. This is like the biggest difference I'll find. If someone can't sing it, they can't play it. And when they can sing it, they can play it when it comes to rhythm. And it's all down to this mouth kind of duh, duh, duh sound is a huge kind of thing. All right, Nick, you're talking, but you're muted. What's up? I've unmuted you.
I was just doing duh, duh,
duh.
duh.
You're fine. Then you weren't talking. You were doing exactly what I said, and I said I would mute you, and you're fine. All right. I've now broken my promise. All right, cool. So we're gonna go da, da, da. 3, 4. 3, 4. Da, da, da. 3, 4. Da, da. Da, da, da. 3. 4. And then you can transition. You can do it on the instrument too, obviously. And I see, Liam, you are already. You can do it on the instrument, and you can continue whether you continue to say it or yours doesn't matter to me. You could continue saying it or you could not, as long as you know that that's correct. But rhythm is all internal, and then we externalize it with playing. So you can, cool thing about rhythms is you can practice them anywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da, da, da. 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 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. Da, da, da. 3, 4. Da, da, da. 3, 4. Da, da, da. 3, 4. We're gonna go to the A in a minute. 4. I'll tell you when. 3. Here we go. A coming up. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. E minor coming up. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. A. Sorry, I didn't give you much warning there. A. 3, 4. Da, da. 3, 4. Da, da, da. 3, 4. All right, cool. So we're gonna do a different one. This one is da, da, da. 3, 4. Da, da, da. 3, 4. Da, da, da. 3, 4. E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da, da, da. 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 3, 4. 4, da, 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 3, 4, da, 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 3, 4, da, da, da. A coming up, 4, here we go. See? 3, 4. All right, cool. So we got 2 rhythms there. We got rhythm 1, da, da, da. Rhythm 2, da, da, da. All right. So we're going to kind of change between them. All right. So da, 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 da. And I'll just shout rhythm 1 or 2, and then I'll keep going. But you're going to have to know, like, kind of check for yourself. Am I in time here? Am I not? Which I guess if I could hear you, I would check for you. But actually, it's really good that I'm not able to hear you, because now you get to check for yourself, which is kind of the better learning tool. So you just have to check, and each time, like, think and take no shame in stopping, doing it with your mouth, and then coming back to the guitar, because it's all in time. And the training, like, not to get too weird, to like golf metaphor, but all the training is like mental with this stuff. So it's like, all right. I'm not going to make you meditate today, though. All right, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I should tell you which rhythm we're doing first. We're going to do rhythm 1 first. Da, da, da. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. Here we go. A. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3. Here we go. That was meant to be E minor, sorry. E minor. We're going to switch to the other rhythm. Rhythm 2 coming up. I'll count you in. 3, here we go. Da, da, da. 3, 4. Da. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. A. 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. E. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. Rhythm 1. 3, 4. Da, da, da. 3, 4. 3, 4. A chord. 3, 4. 3, 4. E minor. to the other rhythm, which I think is rhythm 2. All right, after this one. Here we go, rhythm 2. A, 3, 4. All right, finish on E minor. Just strum all the strings up and down relentlessly like it's the end of your Wembley run of 7 nights. That's right, Liam, I see it. All right, cool. You guys did a really nice job. How's those fingertips? All right, good. We got some strength. That's great. So that was, you guys did a really nice job. And see, we were just taking simple rhythms and then trying to get them internalized. That's how you're going to learn any song. So a good example I can think of is Wonderwall is a really hard song for beginners to learn normally. In terms of the grand world of guitar, is it that hard? Probably not really. But when you're beginning at guitar, it's got loads of hard stuff going on. And it's one that people constantly underestimate. And it's because of the chord changes a little bit, but mostly the strumming pattern is like hard to remember exactly what happens. And the only real answer for it, and the only way I've ever managed to get like complete beginners to do it, is we sit there and we sing it back and forth at each other in the lesson. So I'll be like da 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 da, and they'll go back to me until we get it right. And most of the practice, other than getting the chord change down, was about singing the strumming patterns before they go on to the song. And then frankly, I don't care whether you're doing downstrokes or upstrokes, like the strums. It doesn't matter as much to me as the strumming pattern being right vocally, because if the strumming pattern's fast, you're going to have to figure it out anyway, whether you need to add upstrokes in. Like if you're doing Wonderwall at speed, all downstrokes, congratulations. Like that's really fast hand movement. And so you're going to begin to solve that problem for yourself. But most of it is getting those vocal kind of string patterns in the right place. So we're going to do some more of this, but I thought it'd be nice to add in a second chord, or a third chord, I guess, when we do this. So we're going to add in a G chord. I don't know if you looked at that this week much, Liam. G chord. Yeah, you're good with it. All right, cool. Then we'll just add in the G chord now. So we've got E minor. I'll recap for Jazz, who's just joined us as well, who has an awesome name, especially if you're learning guitar. That's a pretty cool name. I feel like I should rename myself to something cool like that. A stage name. You don't need a stage name though, Jazz. That is your name. All right. So we've got this, and then we've got G chord that we're going to bring in now. And so you can play the 2-finger version that I put in those sheets, or if you wanted to, you could play the 3, or there's even like a 4-finger version of G chord, which is frankly gratuitous most of the time. Although sometimes it's actually useful. All right, so we're going to use E minor and G to begin with. And we're just going to do the same thing, same 2 strumming patterns, and we'll see how we get on with them. We'll go for it. All right. Maybe we'll add in a 3rd strumming pattern. We'll do that in a second. We'll get the chords down. We'll play with them. We'll add in a 3rd strumming pattern. Right. When we're ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. We're on pattern 1. 3. 4. G. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, and E minor. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 1, We're going to G now. 3. After this one, sorry, not yet. Now. 3, 4. G. All right, cool. So we've got strumming patterns 1 and 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to alter those too much. I'm just going to add to what already exists on them. So right now we've got 2 strumming. If you imagine there's 4 beats in a bar, what's happening, and if this, you're like, whew, this blows over your head a little bit, then don't worry. But last week we looked at, and we had that grid of like 1, 2, 3, 4, and we had 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We haven't gone past in either of these strumming patterns 3. There's no 3 in this at all. We've got da, da, da that happens, which is 1 and 2. That's one of the patterns. And the other one is da, 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 which is 1, 2, and. Okay, that's what's happening right now. Da, da, da is 1, 2, and. And the other one is da, 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 which is 1 and 2. So they're both really kind of simple. And the reason I've done that is I've front loaded the rhythm because it gives us time to change here when there's a chord change coming up. This is a very clever way to change in chord progressions and get playing songs that sound good, even though you can't change chords fast yet. This is why, like, the number one thing people ask me for in lessons when they're a beginner is, oh, I want to do better strumming patterns. And then they also go, I want to change chords faster. And then they also go, I want to play songs. And I go, well, these 3 ain't going to work together. We have to practice these separately. So a way that you can get playing songs pretty quickly is if you can change in time with what we're doing now, you can already begin to play a song, like easy songs. But you won't be able to play them as they were originally written because they're often recorded by guys who've been playing for like 20 years. Like some old dude in LA recorded that track and he's a pro guitar player. It's like, can any of us join the Premier League in football? Probably not. Can we have a kickabout in the park? Probably yes. Okay. And that's kind of true for me too. I still have to think in that way about things that I find difficult. But so if we front load the notes over here, we can play songs straight away. But we also want to be pushing our ability to do stuff over here. And that's what we're going to do now. Okay. So this might get a bit hairy and that's okay. That's fine. So we're going to do those strumming patterns. And then we're going to add in either beat 3. Either beat 3 or both beat 3 and beat 4. When you start adding in beat 4, that's where the changes are going to get hairy because we've got like not very much time before the next chord. If I shout A and you've got to go da, 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 da. Oh my God, there's a chord there. That's a change, all right? So that's why sometimes these are difficult. So what you're going to do is we're going to add in beat 3 and we're going to see if we can add in beat 4 by the end of this session, that's great. If not, I'm just going to lay out the path for you that you can practice this at home. You just do the same thing. And when beat 3 feels easy, and it might feel not easy today, then you add in beat 4 and it's going to feel hairy and then you'll feel fine. Maybe hairy is not the right word to use. I don't know if I like that analogy. Right. But it's going to sound messy for sure. So we're going to go, rhythm 1 has now become da, 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 da. And we're not putting on 4 yet. We'll try that at the end. Rhythm 1 is da, 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 da. 4. Da, 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 da. 4. Okay. And rhythm 2 is da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. 4. Da, 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 da. All right. So let's give it a go. We're going to do E minor and we're going to do rhythm 1 first. So da, 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Oh, that's not the rhythm. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. G. E minor. A. E minor. We're going to switch to rhythm 2. 4. 1. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 da. 4. Da 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 da. 4. Da 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 da. 4. 4. 4. 4. A. G. And E minor just finished. Very nice. All right, cool. You guys done a really nice job. So first, before I move on to the next thing, I wanted to ask if you guys have any questions in your head or just things that that kind of you've thought about when practicing guitar this week or in general. And if there's nothing, then that's fine. We'll just move on to the next thing and we'll talk about songs and learning songs. What we want to play. So what kind of music are you guys into? I know a little bit about Nick, but you can share anyway. Liam, I have absolutely no idea. What kind of music do you like?
A bit of everything really, but I mean I love Oasis and kind of Catfish, Bottlemen, a bit like indie, kind of bit of rock. Yeah, that kind of mix really.
That's cool. Okay, so Oasis is good. Yeah, it's all very guitar music, which is excellent. And Nick, remind me. Tell us all. You're currently muted. Go for it.
Finger picking, I think.
Finger picking is big.
Yeah, everybody from sort of Martin Knopfler through to Glenn Campbell and the great Chet Atkins, people like that.
Oh. Well, you're right up my street then, because I love finger picking as well. And we'll look at some finger picking now then, in fact, too. But before we do that, so we'll look at some songs and then, because I want to show you something which with the beginner sheet that you guys got, I made this other thing to go with it, but I just haven't sent it out to people yet. So you guys are going to see this first. But it's a bunch of songs that you can play with the beginner sheet. So the idea is, you get the beginner sheet, you learn the chords, and then you're going to be able to play at least some of these songs, even if they're kind of easy versions of them. But I'll share my screen with you so you can kind of see this. So if we look on here, it's a bunch of songs, and so what they've got on here, can you guys see this okay? Just checking. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got a bunch of kind of easy, chord progressions, and then songs that they're actually in. And this isn't a complete sheet yet. So there's actually this chord progression here, G, D, E minor, C, is like the #1 most common chord progression of all time. And you can see my computer is having a small fit right now. I'm trying to run Zoom and do basic function. Okay, it's calmed down right now. So you can see we've got the G, D, E minor, C. That is one of the most common chord progressions of all time. Everything from Let It Be by the Beatles to With or Without You by U2. Is kind of captured in that set of chords. And then the other ones are also common chord progressions that you can use to kind of play. Now they're all stuck in one key in open chords. So it's like the easiest way you could play them, and a lot of them won't work with the real song. But they work for sing along around the campfire versions of the song. And when you learn how to use a capo, which I'll teach another time, you will actually have to play these along with the real song. The first thing I wanted to just give you guys an opportunity is, if you want to take a screen capture of this, you can. Like, take a screen capture yourself, or I can send this to you at the end. It's absolutely fun. But it's just not quite finished yet. But I wanted to give you something to practice this week when you're working, so you can be like, oh, I'm kind of working towards a real song now. I can play a real song. And I want to show you these chords come up. And more, what I wanted to show you is that these same chords are coming up over and over again in the same places. And a lot of them, you know, like G, you know. For the D, you're just going to pick one of those 2 easy D chords. Or Nick, you know the 3-finger D chord is fine too. And you use that as a substitute. So D sus2 would be fine in this case. E minor, and then the C, which there's a different kind of C in the book. Everything's 2-finger chords. And the same with one, but it gives you some nice roots to practice around the fretboard. The only chord that you're not going to be able to do is B minor, because you don't know that one yet. It's in the next set of chords that I teach when I teach students. So actually what I've kind of given out as a free thing is what we call the level 1 chords for us. I put them all into levels. Not all the chords ever, because it's like 13,000, but like the ones you need to know as a beginner. These are the level 1s. Level 2 is the next thing I teach. Once you feel comfortable, it's not like I'm saying, obviously, I think Nick already had them, they're the old level 1s. Liam, I'm not saying, oh, you can never get this unless you become an official student. Just email me when you feel like you're up to scratch. These, and I'll just send it. I don't mind. For these ones, you can just see what's going on and have a go at learning it. So, but the B minor is the only one that you're going to not be able to do, but the other ones should work fine. And then so if you've got a screen capture of that, that's awesome. We're going to jump back out, and I'm not going to focus on this right now because I feel like we've played a lot of strumming so far in this lesson already. This is for you to work on in the same way we just did, but in the week. So you're going to take one of the strumming patterns and you do it, and you try and pick a rhythm. Da, da, da. Great rhythm. Take one of those and you try and put it to 4 chords. And remember, if you can't play something, it's probably just because you're going too fast. That's all. If we go super slow, like if I gave you between now and Tuesday, tomorrow, to change between a chord, you would be able to do it. So there's some speed between now and that, like super fast and that will work. So you just go slow. All right, let me stop sharing my screen. And we're gonna, we are going to look at some finger picking, which is one of my favorite things. The reason I started playing guitar was for finger picking. And I hadn't even thought to cover it in these sessions, but it's actually nice that you brought it up, Nick, because it is something which I think a lot of people are very passionate about, and I've kind of ended up using picks and stuff like that. But that's cool. So we're going to look at some finger picking, and we're going to do some basic finger picking patterns. And it's also good because it will give these left hands a little rest from pressing down the guitar so much. Because finger picking, the first part of it is we have to like learn the mechanics of what goes on over here with the right hand. So if you're into finger picking, that's cool. If you're not, you can, if you're like really not, all the exercises I talk about now, you can do with a guitar pick, and it will just help with your accuracy with a pick. But if you want to try with fingers too, you'll just see that this is one of those things. Okay, so finger picking. Everything is about what's going on in this hand. So the first rule, and rules are going to be broken later on. So if you ever see someone say, "Oh, that's rubbish," there's a rule for a reason first, and then we're going to break it later on. Okay, but we need to kind of learn this rule. First rule is that your first 3 fingers get assigned 2 strings. Okay, so your finger number 3, which is this index finger, the one, if you were a lady being proposed to, then someone might put a ring on it if you're in Europe, but otherwise it would be the left hand in England. But this one is going to go on string number 1 here, which is this is like the most awkward one of all. We've started, it can only go down from here. This is the most awkward one. Your middle finger plays string 2, and your first finger plays anything on string number 3. Just those. So these fingers, we're going to make them fixed just to these strings. And so the first thing is just to get used to, like, can you cycle through those 3 strings and pick? All right, cool. And so just get used to cycling through this. And then what I'm going to do is in the chat of this, I will say it out loud in case, I guess someone is on the Facebook and wants to watch this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some... Okay, so if we go 2, 3, 5, and 7, you're going to get used to just going 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1 with that right hand over here. And then the way that we're going to add difficulty this is not, we're not going to do anything about this right hand. We're going to add difficulty by putting some stuff in your left hand. And what's going to happen in the fretting hand is you are going to play frets 2, 3. You can, if you want to be really daring, go to 5 or 7 would be fine too. But let me give you an example. So I might start on fret 0. Everything's open. I'm not playing anything. And then after a few times around, 2. Fret 3. And the reason I have given you an order, but I'm not really giving you like a specific order of them, is because actually I want you to play around with those notes in different order, because the moment you start playing around with them, you actually got a piece of music. But it's hard to keep the momentum going with this right hand. So we have to keep that da, 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 da. Like, I think of this, if I picture in my head, it's like a steam train with the wheels going around, like da, 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 chuk, 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 chuk. And you have to keep that pulse going for this to sound good. Do, 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 do. All right, so I'm going to play, and you guys are just going to join in nice and slowly, and we'll keep this going. But you don't have to worry about what fret I'm on. You can be on whatever fret you want. Okay, so 1, 2, da, 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 da. How is that? Is that too fast? Is that okay? Difficult? Yeah. So Nick, for you, it's probably quite easy for you, or relatively. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'll show you how to level this up. So we're gonna basically, it works around the same exercise, works on the same speed. So it's not gonna affect you, Liam. We're gonna work on exactly the same thing. Nick, this is how you're gonna level up. Is every time we pick string 3, you are going to also pick string 6. So it's gonna, you are now Darth Vader, but only with 2 fingers. And you need to do that clasp with thumb. So that's the first thing you gotta do. Okay, so you're pincering that thumb and finger, which is hard, or harder. And then let me know how you get on with that. We'll try it round a couple times, and if it's easy, then I'll show you the next thing too, and that's fine. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. I made a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, cool. Good. So Liam, if you want to practice this more, you don't just have to do it with those 3 strings, but it is that motion of these 3 fingers. So one thing you do is you can take any chord, like an E minor chord, and you can shift. So if we're strictly finger picking, you would normally try and keep those fingers on those 3 strings, but really what we're trying to learn is just that motion. So we get used to those things. So you could put those on strings 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, and on 6, sorry, not 4, 5, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 5, 4, 3. Yes. Yes. On the other sets of strings. Words fail me today. On the other sets of strings, and you can do the same little exercise just over chords. And then you try and change. It's hard to get this and do the chord changes at the same time really smoothly, but go for it. You just have to go slow. It's just a case of you slow down, there's a speed where it's going to happen. Unfortunately, the speed where music sounds good is sometimes not the speed where it happens. And that's the goal, is as we get things, they start at slow speed and we get them to speed up. Nick, how was that for you? Was that a bit more difficult, or was that more manageable? Or let me unmute you so I can hear what your response is.
Never done it like that before.
How was it?
So it was interesting. It wasn't really that difficult, but I was sort of, yeah, I mean, it's so you can't see, can you? But
no, I can't see. I can hear. I can't tell whether it's a Zoom thing or whether it's happening, but you want to make sure, or whether it's actually happening, you want to make sure you're still hitting the high E string too. So it should hear that top high E string as well. And I'm not hearing that one.
What, the first string?
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe you're playing it, but I'm not hearing it.
no, I'm not. I was playing the second string actually.
Yeah, but you got to play both, so it should be 3, 2, 1. But the
I
third
see.
string is happening at the same time as the sixth. Yeah, that's it. So now you've switched the strings around a little bit. So
First, second, third, and sixth.
but it should be the other way around. So it should be third and sixth,
Third
then
and
string
sixth.
2, then 1. So 3 and 6, then string 2.
Sorry, three and six, and then 2 and 1.
That's it. And that in a loop. Better. Good. So it sounds like, when I'm hearing it in the moment, it sounds like you're getting the notes in the right order now. You just want to get that till it feels a bit smoother.
Yeah.
And then stick it on a pulse, because when things are unsmooth, the pulse is like. You got it. Liam, you got it too by the sounds of it. Especially if you can play, and what's going to happen is the 3 and the 6 are going to be louder anyway. The louder you can make that 3 and the 6, that bit, and the more dynamic contrast, the difference between that and the note, the more you'll sound like a Spanish player, just with these things. Good, you guys done really nice. So I want to talk very briefly about kind of practicing these and your homework for this week. Okay, so your homework is to take some of those chords from like at least one of those chords from the song chart that I made. You just pick one, right? And you're going to learn that chord progression. And you're going to do it with some different strumming patterns. Because I want you to know that when it comes to learning songs, the least important part of what you have to do to learn a song is the strumming pattern. And it's the bit that everyone gets held up with. There's so much going on. You've got bloody chords to learn. You've got changes to do in time. You've got pulse to keep. You might even be trying to play and sing at some point too. There's too much going on. You don't need to do the exact strumming pattern. I could play you, and frankly, whenever I do play Wonderwall, I'm pretty sure I play it with the wrong strumming pattern, and no one's ever told me or noticed. So it's not the strumming pattern, it's where the chords change and getting your hands to move to get the change in the right time with the pulse. That's what matters first. So trying to get that 1, 2, 3, 4s down, and the pulse is all you have to do to make things sound like music. And making things sound like music is the most rewarding thing you can do at the moment, because I want you to have something to play for entertainment. Because that's like the thing that's super demoralizing. I've met people who have played for like 3 years and they don't have anything they can play for entertainment. I'm like, no, no wonder this is the bane of your life right now. You can get something that you can play for entertainment just by getting some chords and working with the string patterns and the dynamics, and then you'll be able to start playing some real songs. So that's one thing, is work on those. And the second thing is more important than the first one, is just to make sure you're picking up every day. Just do the work. 5-minute timer. I love timers for practicing, because I don't want you to focus on the outcome of what you want to work on that day. I just want you to do the work and work on the stuff and kind of push yourself for however long until the timer goes off. So you always start with a 5-minute timer. And then if you want to grow it to a 10-minute timer, that's great. The furthest I would ever grow your timer to is 25 minutes. If you can get 25 minutes in without looking at your phone, without wanting to jump on YouTube or I don't know, without being interrupted somewhere, and you're just playing guitar, kind of, and you can get in the zone for that, that's awesome. And if you've done 25 minutes, I insist you at least take a break for a few minutes and then come back and do, if you want to do more practice, you can. That's kind of, if you were doing like a whole day of, even if you were going to do 12 hours of practice in a day, I would say, no, you're not. You're going to do 24, 25-minute timers, which means you'll be taking at least 10 minutes of break every hour. But I'm not suggesting anyone to do 12 hours of practice a day. That is mental. I'm suggesting 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes. And anything else you do is an awesome bonus. And I'll see you guys next week at the same time at 7 o'clock. Did you guys have any questions or anything you wanted to ask before we jump off today? Yeah, go for it, Nick. What we got?
Sorry, we'll be able to download those chord progressions.
That's a very good question. Not yet. I can go finish it and send it to you tonight.
Yeah, because I couldn't work out
this video afterwards. If I haven't put it up yet, just email me and I will make sure.
Yeah, I couldn't work out how to do a screen grab in Zoom. So
then no worries. Then no worries. I will just send it to you. I just haven't quite finished it yet. I remember there's like a few minor details. It's one of those things where it's like, mostly done, and I'm like, oh, I have other things to do now. So
yeah, tell me about it. Yeah. No rush.
The curse of being a musician and trying to also be productive, I'm like, oh, I can practice guitar right now.
Yes. I can also do this, that, and the other.
It's lovely outside. I can go for a walk. But yeah, have fun practicing. Enjoy playing a bit. Liam, like, you guys done great. Your fingertips must be hardening. Like, yeah.
Yeah, they're getting stronger. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Good. That's good. You'll find that the skin kind of breaks and reheals. And
yeah, and just on the finger picking.
Yeah,
I got the strings bit down here, but up here, when the fretting side of it, was I just to push it on the first string, or? Yeah,
so just the first string. We were doing frets 2, 3, and I would just focus on those, but you could do 5 and 7 as well.
Okay.
And it's the only reason I'm reading it is it breaks it up so you can kind of get creative with it a little bit. And it begins to sound like a piece of music. And it's because it's another challenge for your brain. And most of this process is like trying to find ways to challenge your brain that make this interesting and turn you into someone that can play songs that you like. And that's it really. And then so when it's like, okay, you've got to get something down with your right hand, I need to distract you in other ways. So when I'm teaching people in person, like I will quite literally just do things to distract them sometimes. Like play in the wrong key while they're trying to keep a pulse going, but we can't do that so much on here. But yeah, it's like trying to play and keep the internal focus of music going while you're almost distracted, and there's different levels of distraction. Sometimes that distraction is literally just trying to play or make a chord change in the other hand. You're like, oh, it's going great, and then I have to change chord. And other times it's like when you get like professional, really like good guitar players, they have to practice so that they don't freak out when a firework goes off 2 feet from them on a stage. So it's levels of distractions the whole way, but it's also level of distractions for when you're starting out and beginning too, and it's the same for me. All right.
Sorry, yeah, sorry, quick question. With the finger plucking.
Yes.
Were you doing the second string with your middle finger?
Yeah.
All right. So first the bottom string is pinky. Second finger was middle.
Yeah.
Third was the index.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So they just kind of fit quite neatly on the guitar because we as humans evolved to play the guitar. So that's why our hands fit so neatly with the strings. But yeah, they kind of fit just under those strings there.
So do you kind of miss that middle, that one after the pinky out then?
Yeah, the pinky we don't really use. Do some people use it? Yes. Yeah. I've been playing for, I don't know, 12 years, something like that. A lot of finger picking. My pinky is terrible for this hand.
Okay.
So I wouldn't worry about it for the moment.
All right.
And actually everything you're going to do, because this ring finger is already a nightmare on its own. Everything you're going to do to train this finger, if you wanted to later on train the pinky, see how I can't even do stuff with it. You would do the same thing again.
All right, got that.
You have to train the pinky on this hand for playing this side, and that, believe me, that causes enough pain. for a
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I've never tried the thing. I've never even thought about the plucking, but I quite enjoyed that, so I might try that
Yeah,
again.
it's cool, and it sounds kind of immediately quite good.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So, yeah, good. You guys did a great job. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Next week's the last kind of free one I'm doing for a little while. But I'm also I'm bringing out a kind of 30-day beginner course that you guys can do from home if you wanted to do as well. It's not free, but it's kind of my best stuff stuck into 30 days. But it's similar kind of thing. If you want to join that, you can next week, and I'll send you details about it in an email. If not, just come on next week and enjoy the last free session.
Cheers. Thanks a lot, mate. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.